वेलकम बैक नाजरीन, आप लोग देख रहे हैं इस्लामिक फ़ाइनेंस एंड प्रॉपर्टीज़। मैं अली काजी। आज हमारे पास सादिया शफीक हैं और ये बैंकर हैं और हम लोग क्रेडिट रिपोर्ट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, हम लोग लोन्स की बात कर रहे हैं, हम लोग एक ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी की भी बात करेंगे कि इकोनॉमी जा किस पास से रही है। थैंक यू वेरी मच सादिया फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस अगेन। हर दफ़ा मैं आपको यही कहता हूँ ब्रेक के बाद, और शुक्र है आप यहाँ टिकी रहती हैं, हमने आपको बांधा हुआ है एक किस्म का। और ये आपकी बड़ी ये दिस इज़ ऑल्सो सोशल सर्विस आई सपोज, जो कि आप हमारे नाजरीन को हेल्प कर रही हैं विद देयर फाइनेंसेस एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ, सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दैट। अच्छा, क्रेडिट का तो हमने बात कर ली कि दी इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इट और कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना, ठीक है। अब नाउ कमिंग बैक टू नाउ वी हैव there are obviously individual loans and there are loans for smaller businesses as well, जो running capital होता है and so on so forth. हम लोग बात करेंगे smaller medium to small size business के अंदर कि आया कि किस चीज़ की ज़रूरत होती है, क्या what documentations does the bank look at. अब for instance लोगों के पास दुकानें हैं या किसी के पास what and they need some sort of a help with their finances, what is available to them, क्या उनको documentations क्या चाहिए होती हैं?
दे प्रिटी इजी, बट मैंने अक्सर देखा है कि बहुत लोग इसको भी काफ़ी
मुश्किल कर
मुश्किल
देते हैं।
समझते हैं मुश्किल कर देते हैं एक्चुअली जब वो बैंक्स के पास जाते हैं, बिकॉज दे डोंट एक्चुअली अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट बैंक्स आर लुकिंग फॉर।
हाँ,
तो सबसे पहली जो बैंक की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, दे वांट टू लुक एट द बिजनेस प्लान कि आया जो आप बोरोइंग ले रहे हैं कि हाउ आर यू प्लानिंग टू स्पेंड दैट फंड। सो आपको एक बिजनेस प्लान बनाना पड़ता है जिसमें आप एक्सप्लेन करते हैं कि दिस इज़ योर बिजनेस, दैट्स वेयर इट्स स्टैंडिंग राइट नाउ एंड दैट्स वेयर यू वांट इट टू बी। सो उसमें आपको फिगर्स बतानी पड़ती हैं कि आपने इन ईयर्स में कितना प्रॉफिट किया, कितना लॉस किया, सारा कुछ किया, तो ये सारी
तो
चीज़ें
ये
काउंट
जो
होती
बैंक
हैं।
है ये कितने साल तक का आपका देखता है ये सारा?
ये मिनिमम लास्ट 2 से 3 इयर्स तक आपकी चीज़ें चेक होती हैं, उसमें देखा जाता है कि
अच्छा,
हाउ यू
तो 2 to 3
टू
years
टू थ्री
आपका
इयर्स
चेक होता है कि भाई so you have
how you've been performing, whether you was a loss making business or whether you were a profitable business। तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो हैं इसमें काउंट होती हैं और बैंक इसको देखता है। बैंक सबसे पहले आपसे रिक्वायर करेगा लास्ट 3 मंथ्स के एनुअल अकाउंट्स।
अच्छा ठीक, मैं सदिया आई एम सो सॉरी टू
नो
कट यू
नो,
शॉर्ट।
डोंट
अब
वरी।
मैं बल्कि इसको बाद में पिकअप भी करेंगे, पहले हम लोग कॉल पे चलते हैं। जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम।
जी कौन 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 बोल रहे
जी
हैं?
जी मैं अपना सॉरी नाम anonymous रखना चाहती हूँ,
अच्छा,
please. I
जी
would
नो
just
प्रॉब्लम,
like,
नो नो नॉट एट ऑल,
okay,
जी जी।
thank you. Basically, I just like to know about loans. We have a big loan on the property. We have a lot of debt. Um, so basically, my husband has 20,000 debt, and the house is in interest only. And I wanted to know, we've accumulated this debt through some way. Is there any way? I wanted to ask
Yes, there is. Can I
Sadia?
can I can I can I can I can I ask you a few questions before we
Yeah,
put this question to Sadia? So
yeah,
you say you have a house which is on interest only,
yes,
and you've accumulated some debt, some
yes,
loans on it. ठीक
yes.
है? All right, okay. And it's
No,
up.
we haven't accumulated loans on it. Sorry, my husband's got loans, so I just wanted to know
Is it a
what
secured loan or is it an unsecured loan?
we've got. He's just got built up loans on credit cards.
All right, on credit card, so
Yeah, it's
unsecured.
not. Sorry, nothing to do with the property.
Right,
So,
okay.
we've got a house which is on river. That's a separate issue, and he's got loans, which is amounting to £800. We're giving each month. He is
Wow,
on
okay.
interest on the loan that he has.
Wow, okay.
Okay, on the
Okay.
credit card. So I wanted to know: is there a halal way to get out of this, please?
Absolutely. Sadie,
Yeah.
ये पूछ रही हैं कि basically she's. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to explain the whole question to
Yes,
Sadie because she
Yeah,
can't hear
sure.
I
you
can't
Thank
hear
you.
you
at the
unfortunately।
moment.
Yeah.
ठीक है? वो ये कह रही हैं कि she's got a house which is on interest only. How long have you owned the house for?
Sorry.
How long have you owned the house for?
We've owned the house for 15 years approximately. Yeah, 15.
15 years. And you've never done a remortgage or anything like that on that?
No.
Okay, so 15 years they've owned the house for, which presumably means that it's got some equity in it.
Okay.
And
How much equity, I would say, how much is the percentage of the equity they have put in? Just ask a question.
okay, so presumably 15 years means that whatever they paid for it, 10 to 15, 10 से 12 साल लगते हैं to double the whatever. So presumably a lot of equity. They're in London. Okay, so presumably a lot of equity. And they have unsecured debt of £20,000, which they're servicing at the moment.
Okay.
What they want to find out is what is the best way of paying the debt off in a halal way, and also if you could explain to them in a conventional way as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks. That's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So,
over to Sadia.
So currently, what I understood from this question is कि वो interest only mortgage pay कर रहे हैं, जिसमें सिर्फ उन्होंने interest pay किया है and the capital sits where it was.
The capital sits where it is, yeah.
Okay.
But obviously 15 साल पहले जब उन्होंने घर खरीदा था, तो उस वक्त की प्राइसेस और अब की प्राइसेस के अंदर ज़मीन आसमान का फर्क है.
बिल्कुल, of course, बहुत फ़र्क पड़ गया होगा. और maybe the situation rises if they sell the property, they may gain a lot out of it, what even they've paid for. But if they want to remain in the property, जो debt इनका outstanding है, वो इनको at the end of the term, अभी अक्सर ऐसे होता है कि 15 साल 25 साल का term होता है. So say next 10 years में, if they continue being on the interest only, they'll have to make sure that they have enough reserve to pay off the full debt and clear off the mortgage. ये एक सिंपलेस्ट वे है जो आपको क्लियर नज़र आता है, बिकॉज आपका डेट वहीं पे पड़ा रहेगा, आपने इंटरेस्ट पे किया हुआ है. सेकेंड ये होता है कि आप अपने हाउस को रीवैल्यू करवाएं एंड चेक व्हाट इज़ द प्राइस. उसमें से होता है कि देन यू टेक दैट एक्विटी आउट एंड पे ऑफ द मोर्गेज कम्प्लीटली, क्योंकि अभी तक तो आपने इंटरेस्ट पे किया है एंड देन यू द एक्विटी हैज़ बीन राइजिंग ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम. So yes, you can take some funds out and remortgage it and pay off the funds completely and get rid of that remaining mortgage you have. Because the property, say if you've taken the total amount for £270,000 of the total loan, that sits there because you've only been paying the interest, but the property value has gone double, say double the amount.
You'd have to sell it now to get the equity out.
No, there are other ways of taking the equity out. You can take bridging loans out of it as well and then clear the property that way, but still the funds will remain there, or you can do interest and repayment properly together. So that's one way. But to pay off the full mortgage again, yes, you have to sell the property completely, pay off the mortgage, and then from the total amount which is left out, which is half of what is left, you can go and buy a proper new house in that money.
मैं भी थोड़ा सा ज़रा, thank you so much, that's nice to. अच्छा, मैं थोड़ा सा ये भी बताता हूँ. Okay, so basically as far as your interest mortgage is concerned, obviously you really need to make some provisions in regards to actually having some sort of a mechanism where you can actually pay the capital as well. Usually mortgages जो होती हैं वो 25 साल की होती हैं, 25-30 साल की भी होती हैं, तो आपके पास ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं रह गया. अगर 15 साल आप उस प्रॉपर्टी में हैं तो आपके पास, and you want to go on living in that property, so you really need to make some provisions that way. And there are lots of provisions you can make. एक तो capital repayment भी है कि you can go and switch from interest only to repayment. उसके अलावा there are other forms of investments as well. For instance, there are ISAs that you can actually invest up to £20,000 per year on that, which again doesn't guarantee that it will pay your mortgage off, but there is some sort of a saving mechanism there as well. And there are other things that you can do as well. अगर आप चाहें तो आप बेशक telephone number छोड़ दें पीछे. I'll give you a ring and run through that with you. The other issue that you had was that you have a debt, unsecured loan, which is from your husband. Of £20,000 or whatever it may be. There are certain ways that you can actually again get rid of that debt as well, especially अगर उसकी servicing जो है is as high as what you said, which is £800 per month, which is a phenomenal amount for £20,000. My suggestion would be, obviously ये एक आपको general suggestion दे रहे हैं, there is absolutely nothing specific here at all. But you can look at other ways as well. One way is actually to go to your bank and possibly get a further finance on that, but it would be a secured loan. कि वो आप ये भी बात कर सकते हैं. Second thing is that you can actually go for a total remortgage and pay that debt off and whatever other debts you have incurring. लेकिन मैं आपको यही कहूँगा कि without actually understanding कि exactly आपका need क्या है or which way you want to follow, we can't give you an exact advice, but there are certain ways that you can actually get rid of your consolidate your loans as well. So, and the banks are happy to look at that as well, depending on your situation and so on and so forth. Thank you so much for your call. I do appreciate it. I hope that this has been some sort of a आपको थोड़ी सी information मिली होगी, लेकिन like I said, अगर आपको further information चाहिए, please leave your telephone number behind. I'd be more than happy to give you a call and run through bits and pieces and actually put you in the right direction as well, whether it's through Sadia or somebody else, but we'd be happy to do that for you. अच्छा Sadia, बात हो रही थी small businesses, medium-sized businesses की, उनके loans की. What does the bank look at? जिस तरह लोग दुकानें हैं, किसी के पास न्यूज़ एजेंट है, किसी के पास एक छोटा सा मैकेनिक की दुकान, whatever it is. तो what the banks look at? और आप ये कह रही थी कि 2 to 3 years accounts. Accounts के अंदर वो क्या देखते हैं? What do they look for in accounts?
में जो the full annual accounts, we need to see how the business have been performing. उसमें आपकी turnover कितनी increase हुई, आपने profit कितना make किया, आपके losses थे, उसमें क्या मतलब आपने लॉस क्यों मेक किया, वो सारी रीजंस जब एक जोट डाउन हुए अकाउंट होते हैं, देयर इज़ अ वे टू रीड देम. सो बैंकर्स विल लुक इनटू ईच एंड एवरी डिटेल्स फॉर दैट. सो अगर आपके पास कोई और equity है या कोई और फाइनेंस है, they will look into that as well, that you have savings or you have other debts with other banks that will be reported in the annual accounts as well. So we will see all the aspects, how the company is doing, whether it's a profitable company or a loss-making company. That's the first thing we will look into before we lend the funds.
Loss making, because I mean, not that this is normal practice, surely it's not, and it can't be, but sometimes लोग इतना नहीं दिखाते profit
नहीं दिखाते.
तो उसका does it have repercussions?
It does have repercussion. First, you're kind of avoiding tax.
Evading. That's not allowed.
That's not allowed.
That's not
allowed.
So
it's
not acceptable.
If you're making profit and you're not giving the true figures to, so the year means you're avoiding tax, not. So that means that you're not doing a legal thing. That's tax evasion completely. So this can't be. That's why we more rely on that, because if you're truthfully submitting your annual accounts, that's the true picture that we want to look at. So it means you've not been a profit-making company. We are going through. If you've lied about it, we don't have the way of catching it out, to be honest. It sometimes does tell us through the account. It depends on the accountants as well, because accountants have a job to make sure that any company who's submitting their annual accounts are being truthful, because they look at all the statements which go through the account. Some companies do take funds in cash. You जैसे आप अभी बोल रहे थे news agents and all, वो जो cash होते हैं, they sometimes don't show the cash they're earning. So that is again falls under the not telling us the truth, and profits are not properly shared in that. That sometimes weaken their position with the bank, because अगर वो actually profit making company hai, but they're on the annual accounts are not a profit making company, yes, they are failing the criteria the bank looks at. So that's very important that you be truthful.
And it's sensible as well.
Exactly.
If you're actually looking at a business from your point of view, really, you need to declare everything.
Everything.
Say exactly what it is, because if you are looking to expand and expansions and so on and so forth,
borrowing. If you're looking to borrow specifically, because borrowing is very important and in the current situation, because the interest rates are very, very low. So if you're very keen on borrowing and develop your business, that's the right time to actually take borrowing. And if you want to take borrowing, you have to be very truthful with the bank. Show them the full picture. If you're not if even you're making losses, there are ways that the bank can support and provide you the fundings as well, but they will look at different aspects by doing that.
Would they start looking at directors or
future projections? Exactly. That's where we go into the details. We'll see directors ki kitni experience hai is business mein, how long they've been running the business, how they have run the business in the past. Is this losses jo hain ye bhi recent hue hain? What was the factors of these losses? So it's just not only that came mere paas ek client aayega aur kahega I'm making losses, so sorry I can't give you. No, I need to dig down a deeper. So I need to see कि business चलो 3 साल से पहले कैसे कर रहा था. अगर इन 3 साल से पहले say 2019 से पहले how was the business doing? If the business was doing very well, then I have a very logical reason behind it कि yes, these 3 years or these 2 years which have passed just now had COVID, and then we had Brexit effect. So there's a lot of things that business could be making losses because of that. So I need to consider these options to make sure that the business is legally protected by the banks and they have provided them the support they could have. So yes, these factors are getting counted. So it's not a no for the loss-making businesses straight away. So we have to make sure that we look at the bigger
I think
picture.
so it just comes down to actually the packaging.
Packaging, exactly. And on top, you know what, when we sit down and we analyze the business, we just don't see what's the present and what's the past. We also look at the projections.
Do you actually look at
Yes,
projections?
yes, exactly. We do ask the client to
But you know,
provide.
sometimes the projections are quite exaggerated.
That is true, but you know what, that's where it tells us clearly. You know, bankers have their own way of reading things. We look at the realistic picture. So when it comes and somebody is exaggerated that yes, you're standing here, how can you by taking these changes go to project these figures? So we have to cross questioning our clients, make sure कि अगर वो हमें projection दिखा रहे हैं तो what are the bases? Are these bases looking logical to me and logical to the bank? Yes. Then we'll go ahead and look into that bit deeper. And then that's the time when we will consider all the options for them for borrowing.
Okay.
So that's
And do they also look at the individuals as well in regards to what their background is and so on and so forth?
of course they do, because that's what I'm saying. Just as soon as मेरे पास कोई client आता है तो हम ये देखते हैं कि director, अब एक director मेरे पास आ रहा है, he has got no knowledge of how to run a business and he suddenly decides to run a business because he's last night he had a dream that I will be running a amazing business, and second day he gets up and opens a company and provides me a projection, I'm going to do this without a logical background behind this. That's not acceptable to the banks. So we have to see where this director has come, what sort of companies. Sometimes there are directors who have been working with other companies and they had like they've left the company. We need to know the reasons. So we do dig down deep on directors as a person as well who's joining the business, whether are they credit worthy, are they business worthy.
आपने शुरू में कहा था कि this is not a very, it's a very simple process. अब लोगों ने इसको और जिस तरह आप बताती
No,
जा रही
I'm
हैं,
talking
and I'm
about the
thinking to myself
documentation.
कि this actually seems quite stressful.
It's stressful for the bank, not for the customer. So when we go to the customer, we ask some certain documentation, which is easier. If they are truthful, it's easier for them to provide us. आगे जो dig down deeper करना है, that's the bank's job. So ये जो details मैं बता रही हूँ, it's the bank side, not the customer side. So customer side has to give us certain level of information which we will analyze. So being a banker, I'm telling you, these are the dig down and deep dig downs we go ahead and do for the purpose of knowing more about the business and about the person behind them. So that's how it works.
Okay. And fantastic. Thank you. Acha, we're on our last segment, and I just wanted an overall view of where the economy is going, whether it's the right time to set up a business, what's the prediction for the future. If you have your own globe, तो मैं ये जरा हल्का सा ना मैं आपसे भी ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या ये कोविड और ये सारा कुछ जो हो गया है, अब क्या इफेक्ट्स आ रहे हैं. What does the bank think? What do you think? What do economists think?
Economists are really currently waiting for the November meeting, which is going to be the budget announcement, and I'm really looking forward for that as well. Currently, the base rate is 0.1%, which has worked really good for the borrowers, not for the lenders. So, क्योंकि हम बहुत कम interest पे lend कर रहे थे, and especially people who wanted to save, so that wasn't working good for them.
एक last call ले लेते हैं, फिर उसके बाद आपको जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम. कौन बोल रही हैं?
जी मेरा नाम ज़ारा है और मैं लंदन से बात कर रही हूँ.
जी ज़ारा.
अच्छा, मेरा क्वेश्चन है अराउंड द क्रेडिट रेटिंग. तो आपने बिगनिंग में बात की कि क्रेडिट रेटिंग अगर मतलब हो एंड स्टफ. My question is, how do you establish a credit rating? Like if somebody came new to the country, तो उनको क्या चीजें करनी चाहिए?
Yeah, very good question.
To obviously have a good credit rating, और कितना time roughly?
That's a very good question. ज़ारा है लंदन से, वो ये पूछ रही हैं कि in regards to credit rating, वो अभी आई होंगी बाहर मुल्क से, तो वो कह रही हैं कि I've just settled down in England. how long does it take for me to actually get a credit rating sorted, like in the sense ke, and how does it work?
वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन आई वुड से एक्चुअली, बिकॉज ये बहुत सारे लोग जो नए कंट्री में आते हैं उनको ज़रूरत पड़ती है टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये है कि जब एक बंदा नया कंट्री में आए तो दे हैव टू मेक श्योर दे प्रोवाइड फुल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन टू द बैंक टू ओपन एन अकाउंट फर्स्ट. सो जब आप एक अकाउंट ओपन कर लेते हैं और एक रेगुलर सैलरी आनी शुरू हो जाती है अकाउंट में, और दे सी अ लॉट ऑफ इनकम कमिंग इनटू द अकाउंट, दैट गिव्स अ kind of look to the bank that the funds have started coming. So now this person can have some credit from us. Credit history is totally based on credit. So you have to make sure you have some sort of credit with the bank in the shape of overdraft or in the shape of credit card. So you have to make sure you apply, and it totally depends on your work status as well. If you're unemployed, then the bank will avoid giving you credit, which will stop building the credit history for you. So it's very vital that a person who's come to the country should be employed and having a bank account with the bank. So then they should apply for a product such as an overdraft facility and credit card. That will start building that credit history from that point.
So basically, Zara, what you really need to do is, जो सादिया कह रही हैं आपको, is once you've actually found some employment, I think as soon as you open up a bank account, your credit,
Yeah,
you know,
it starts working towards it, but you need to
come
make
on the system.
system, yes.
ठीक है, and plus also electoral roll का भी होता है इसमें?
Electoral roll ka bhi, yeah, it forms a very vital part that you, on the electoral roll, you have your address and name correctly registered on there, and your date of birth. Everything has to be, because the data does get picked up from the electoral roll on the credit history as well, because that forms part of it as well.
ठीक है, थैंक यू सो मच सादिया. अब हमारा वक्त तो ख़त्म हो गया है. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपके आने का, और थैंक यू हमारे नाजरीन का भी, बल्कि जिन्होंने क्वेश्चंस अपने पूछे भी हैं. थैंक यू सो मच सादिया. आई विल इंशाल्लाह ताला आस्क यू टू कम बैक वन मोर टाइम इन द नियर फ्यूचर. सो थैंक यू सो मच. नाजरीन, अब हम लोग हमारा शो जो है वो ख़त्म हुआ, अपने मकसद के ऊपर पहुँच गया. अगले हफ्ते मैं आप लोगों से बात करूँगा एक्विटी रिलीज़ की. एक्विटी रिलीज़ जो है वो बेसिकली जो हमारी एजिंग पॉपुलेशन है उनके लिए है यूजली, जो उन्होंने अपनी पेंशन्स की प्रोविजंस नहीं किए, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन देयर इन नाउ. तो एक्विटी रिलीज इज़ गोइंग टू बी आवर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, एंड इट इज़ फॉर दिस over 55s. So if you're over 55 and you haven't made any provisions in regards to your pensions and in regards to finances and so on and so forth, और जिस तरह आप लोगों को पता है एक्विटी जो प्राइसेस हैं घरों की वो इतनी ज़्यादा वाज़े हो गई, इतनी ज़्यादा बढ़ गई हैं, तो उसके ऊपर हम लोग टच करेंगे कि व्हाट्स द बेस्ट वे ऑफ एक्चुअली सर्वाइविंग फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू एज़ वेल. तो अगले हफ्ते हम इस टॉपिक पे बात करेंगे. अगले हफ्ते आपसे मुलाकात होगी इस्लामिक फाइनेंस एंड प्रॉपर्टीज़ पे. मेरी तरफ से अलविदा.